Hello, this is the luckiest maths teacher in the world. Thank you so much for tuning in to this video in which I'll show you how to convert decimals and fractions to percentages and vice versa, how to convert percentages into decimals and fractions. So fortunately for you, it's actually very simple. So if I have a decimal or a fraction, and let's say I want to convert that to a percent, all I need to do is times by 100. And if you have a percent that you want to convert to a decimal or fraction, all you need to do is divide by 100. Pretty simple. Let's look at an example. So let's say I have 24%. So I'm going to convert that first into a fraction, then into a decimal. So what I need to do is take 24 and divide by 100. So remember, when you are dividing in terms of fractions, you just write the number over 100. So 24 divided by 100, I can write as 24 over 100. Now you just have to see whether or not you can simplify this fraction. So 24 and 100 have a common factor. Their highest common factor is 4. So I simplify it by dividing top and bottom by 4. I get 6 over 25. So 24% as a fraction, as a simplified fraction, is 6 over 25. Now let's look at how to do it as a decimal. So remember, another way that you can divide by 100, rather than writing the number over 100, you can move the decimal point 2 spots to the left. So I write my number 24, which is the same as 24.0, and I move the decimal point 2 spots to the left. And I'm left with 0.24 or 0.24. So they're all the same thing. 24%, 0.24, 6 over 25 all mean the exact same thing. So let's look at an example that's a little more tricky, and it's going to be trickier because it's going to have a fraction already. So let's say I want to convert 12.25% firstly into a fraction. So the problem with doing it the way that we just did the fraction in the previous example is I would get 12.25 over 100. I have a fraction in a fraction. I don't really want that. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to make 12.25, a mixed number, into an improper fraction. Then divide by 100. So remember, to go from a mixed number to an improper fraction, you times the whole number by the denominator and then you add the numerator. So 12 times 4 is 48, plus 1 is 49, and you keep the same denominator. So 12.25 is the same as 49 over 4. I haven't actually converted it yet because I haven't divided by 100. So that's the next thing I'll do. I'll take 49 over 4 and I will divide by 100. Now remember, dividing by 100 is the same as timesing by 1 over 100, because when you divide fractions, you flip the second one and make it a times. So I just go 49 times 1, 4 times 100. So obviously that will leave me with 49 over 400. Sorry about my messy writing. That's 49 over 400. Okay, so how am I going to do this as a decimal? What you have to do is you have to convert this fraction into a decimal. So hopefully by now you know that a quarter is 0.25. Remember, there are many ways you can convert a fraction to a decimal. You can look up that video if you're not sure how to do it. So 12.25% is the same as 12.25%. So what I do, exactly what I said before. Divide by 100, you move the decimal point 2 spots to the left, and I'm left with 0.1225. Easy as. Now we'll just look at a couple of quick examples where I'm going the other way. I have a decimal or fraction that I want to convert to a percent. So if you thought converting a percent into a fraction or a decimal was easy, well, this way is a lot easier. So what we're going to do now, start with a fraction or decimal and convert to a percent. So let's start off with a fraction. Let's say I have something like 3 over 5, okay? All I need to do to convert this into a percent is to times by 100, okay? So when you're timesing a fraction by a whole number, you only times the numerator by the top number. You don't times the denominator as well. So 3 times 100 is 300. So this is 300 over 5. Remember, this line means divide. So 300 divided by 5 is just 60. So 3 over 5 is the same as 60%. Okay, you can do that with or without a calculator. So let's say I have something as a decimal now. Let's say I have 0.0725. So I want to convert that to a percent. So I need to times by 100. So in the last example, we divided by 100. That was when we started with the percent and wanted to go to a decimal. So now we're timesing by 100. So I move the decimal point 2 spots, this time to the right. So timesing by 100, move the decimal point 2 spots to the right, and I will get 7.25%. So 0.0725 is the same as 7.25%. How easy is that? Hope you've enjoyed this video. This has been the luckiest maths teacher in the world. Have a great day.